Okay, let's set the scene. It's May 3rd, 2007. Praia de Luz, Portugal. A family's on holiday.
Right, the McCanns, Kate and Jerry.
Exactly. The kids are supposed to be asleep in the apartment. Parents are nearby having dinner with friends. Seems perfectly normal, you know?
Just a standard vacation evening. Nothing out of the ordinary plan.
But then, that whole sense of ordinary it completely shattered. 3-year-old Madeleine McCann vanished from her bed.
And that contrast is what makes it so stark, isn't it? The sheer normality of the setting versus the absolute horror of what happened.
A resort town, family holiday,
Yeah.
kids tucked in. You just don't expect something like that.
No, absolutely not. It wasn't a scenario anyone could have foreseen based on the outward appearance of things.
And it all unfolded so quickly.
Yeah.
Kate and Jerry McCann, Madeleine's parents, they had this routine, checking on the kids.
Yeah, about every half hour, wasn't it?
That was the plan. And around 10 p.m., Kate goes to check.
And that's it. That's the moment.
She finds Madeleine's bed empty. She's gone. That shift from a routine check to instant nightmare.
It's hard to even imagine. And the scene in the room itself, that's crucial.
Tell us about that. What did they find? Or rather, what didn't they find?
Well, the door was open, the window apparently unlocked, and just an empty bed.
No broken glass, no obvious forced entry.
Nothing like that reported initially, just absence, a profound silence where a child should have been sleeping. That's what immediately signals something is terribly wrong.
It's not just that she wasn't there, it was how she wasn't there, that quietness.
Exactly. The lack of disturbance is almost more disturbing in a way.
And the parents' reaction. Frantic searching, Kate's cries. You could just feel that raw panic.
Absolutely. Pure terror. They called the police pretty quickly.
Which immediately brings up the huge question.
Yeah.
How? How does a 3-year-old disappear like that so fast with parents so close by?
What could have possibly happened in that time frame? That's what everyone, especially the investigators, must have been asking right from the start.
So the police arrive early hours of May 4th. The investigation kicks off.
Under intense pressure from moment one, you have to assume. A missing child, a foreign country. It's a high-stakes situation.
And it launches this search that just went global, didn't it, and lasted. Well, it's still ongoing in many ways.
It really is. But the initial focus was clear. Find Madeleine. Secure that scene. Gather any possible clue.
Those scene details are just baffling. You mentioned no forced entry.
Right. Which is perplexing.
It just seems odd, almost too clean. Except for that open shutter in the unlocked window.
Yes. Those stand out, don't they? They feel like the only things out of place, potentially.
So what would that suggest to investigators right away? An open window? No other signs?
Well, it throws up several possibilities, none easy. Does she wander off? I mean, highly unlikely for her age, in the dark.
Doesn't seem plausible.
No. Or was someone involved who knew the layout, someone she might not have cried out at? Or was it a very carefully planned abduction, designed to leave minimal trace?
And window and shutter become central to that, right? Were they part of the exit? Or left open deliberately for some reason? Staged?
Exactly. Key questions from the very beginning. Trying to piece together a sequence of events with very few solid pieces.
And then there's the parents, Kate and Jerry. Initially, just immense sympathy, obviously.
As you'd expect, any parent's worst nightmare realized.
But then the media storm hit. Hard. And suddenly, the focus, the narrative, it began to shift, didn't it?
It really did. They went from being seen purely as grieving parents to figures under intense public and even official scrutiny.
Which must be an incredibly difficult position. How does that kind of intense spotlight affect an investigation?
Oh, it's hugely impactful. It can be helpful keeping the case alive, maybe generating leads.
Right, keeping your face out there.
Yes, but it can also fuel speculation, rumor. It can put immense pressure on the police, potentially distract resources, and of course put the family through an even worse ordeal.
And a lot of that early scrutiny centered on their decision to leave the children alone while they ate nearby.
Even with the checks every 30 minutes.
Yeah. Right. That decision itself became a huge talking point. Did it create the opportunity? Was it irresponsible? People started asking those tough questions.
Understandably, perhaps, from an outside perspective, looking for answers, any answers. But it certainly complicated the public perception.
And you add to that the lack of CCTV at the resort complex.
A major hurdle. No cameras covering that apartment block, apparently.
So you've got this window as opportunity, parents nearby but not right there, and no electronic eyes. How does a child vanish from that close range?
Investigators would have been trying to map everything. Access points, escape routes, timings, meticulously. But without footage, you're relying heavily on witness accounts.
Which can be unreliable, especially in the dark after time has passed.
Precisely. It makes establishing who was where and when incredibly difficult.
So with all this uncertainty, the lack of hard evidence, theories started popping up everywhere.
Oh, definitely. You had the stranger abduction theory as someone opportunistic?
Maybe targeting tourists?
Possibly. Then darker theories involving organized crime, like human trafficking rings.
And inevitably, the speculation turned towards people closer. Maybe someone known to the family, or even within the group.
It's common in these cases for theories to proliferate, especially when answers aren't forthcoming. But the McCann case seemed to attract an unusual amount and intensity of speculation.
Trying to make sense of the senseless, I suppose.
Exactly. And for investigators, the challenge is sorting through all that noise, prioritizing leads, deciding which theories are credible enough to pursue seriously.
And while all this is swirling, the days turn into weeks. Weeks into months. And still no Madeleine.
Nothing concrete found. The physical search widened and then, well, scaled back in some ways, while the investigative threads continued.
So the investigation itself became this sort of double-edged thing, trying to find her, while also dealing with this constant media frenzy and public doubt aimed at the parents.
Yeah, it's like fighting a battle on two fronts. Trying to conduct a complex missing person inquiry under this relentless, often critical global gaze.
How does that pressure impact the actual police work?
Immensely. Every decision, every statement, every leak is analyzed, often criticized. It can potentially influence investigative choices, maybe make them more cautious, or sometimes rush things. And the human toll on the family is just incalculable.
So here we are, almost 2 decades later, and that central, awful mystery just hangs there. A normal holiday
I have
evening,
a child asleep in bed.
and then nothing. Just gone. Madeleine McCann.
And the years since have brought twists and turns, different police forces getting involved, leads emerging, then fizzling out, suspects named.
But still no definitive answer.
No. The core questions from that night in Praia de Luz are still hanging in the air.
What really happened in that short space of time? How did she leave that room? Was it the window? The door? Who was involved?
And what about those early days of the investigation? Was something crucial missed? Were mistakes made under pressure? These questions linger.
The impact is just undeniable, isn't it? On the family, obviously, enduring this public nightmare for so long.
Unimaginable. And Madeleine's face. It's become this globally recognized image of a missing child. A constant, sad reminder.
It really stays with you. It makes you think, how is it even possible? In our world, with, technology and information everywhere,
Yeah.
how can a child just vanish like that?
Leaving so many questions, so much speculation, but so few solid facts after all this time.
It's a stark reminder of the limits of investigation sometimes, I suppose, and our deep need for answers, for closure, especially something so tragic.
Absolutely. And while so much time has passed, the case isn't technically closed. Hope for a breakthrough, however slim, still exists. We've seen other cold cases suddenly crack open years later.
True. New technique, someone deciding to talk.
Exactly. So while the mystery endures, the search for answers in some form continues.